Hey my lovelies, welcome back to my channel, and in today's video I am going to create this purple Jack Skellington design ready for Halloween. So if you would like to see how this set was created and all the different products I have used, then stick around and we will get into the design. So I am working on Miss Tammy, one of my Elena hands. She is all set up, ready for the design. I have used the Gems Natural stiletto tips and I have just chopped them down to more of a tapered square. So for this set I'm going to use these fabulous decals from the Decal Queen, and the main colour is this beautiful purple. This is Gail from Gems Nail Systems. She is currently our colour of the week, so she is just £5, but you got to be quick because she will go back to full price Sunday night. I will also be using one of the Nail Team chromes. This is Cheyron, and the chromes are actually our products of the month, but I'll give you a little bit more info on that later. And I'm going to use a little touch of Wizard from the Wizard of Oz glitter collection, and I'm going to use blush, one of our core powders. First thing I do when I'm using decals in my designs is I like to cut the decals out and pop them on a wet sponge. So I am just cutting out as close to the design as possible. I've already cut Jack out and now I'm just doing the little dog. Please forgive me, I do not remember the name of the dog. I'm sure there are people watching going, oh come on Helen, it's this, but I don't remember. I apologise, but I'm just cutting it out, getting nice and close to the design, and then I'm going to pop them on my wet sponge. I just press them down so they sort of soak and then pop them to one side. And when I'm cutting out my decals, I love to use these form tailoring scissors from Katie Barnes. They're super sharp and they're a really nice size that you can really get in and close when there's little bits sticking up and sticking out. They are fabulous. I just use these particular scissors for cutting out decals. I don't use them for anything else. So we've got our products, we've got our decals. Now let's get into the design. First things first, we need to do our thin clear base, and for this I'm using crystal clear acrylic from Gems Nail Systems. All the products I'm using in this set are from the Nail Team and part of the Gems range, other than the decals, which are the Decal Queen. So I haven't posted over here very much. I've been doing a lot more short form videos over on TikTok and Instagram, but I really do need to remember to upload the short ones to my shorts over here on YouTube. I never remember, so I need to write myself like a note and say shorts YouTube. So I do apologise. I haven't forgotten about my YouTube channel. I've just been preoccupied. So into the design, we are going to start off with Gail. She is this beautiful purple acrylic. She's part of the Taste the Rainbow collection. She is also available in gel polish, which is also on offer this week, and they are just £5 each. Gail is the perfect purple for Halloween nails. You can probably work out why she was colour of the week this week, but she will go back to full price Monday morning, so you gotta be quick. I'm doing ombres on the middle and the ring finger, so I'm just applying Gail at the tip. Now normally I like my ombres to be just perfect, but you're not going to see most of the blend, so I'm not worrying too much. Although that is a strange concept for me, so I did worry a little bit. Whilst the acrylic sets, I'm moving on to my pinky, and I am doing a reverse smile line. So using blush, this beautiful nude core acrylic, I applied it from the cuticle because it's quite a small nail, and then using the belly of the brush, I've pulled the product down to where I want the smile line to be. Patting it down, and then I'm using the sides of my brush to really shape that smile line, making sure I've got that slight wall, and then I've gone in with a second bead at the cuticle and blending that in so it's nice and seamless. Not worrying about apex or structure at this point, I'm just getting that nail bed smile line in place. Checking the shape, pushing it in. I felt it was a little bit too round, so I've just gone in with a little bit more force just to thin it down a bit. Don't worry if it's not perfect because I will file it to sharpen it up. Leave that to set, and then I will go in and apply my apex with crystal clear acrylic. Moving back to the middle and the pinky, and I'm going to apply blush from the cuticle and blend it down to start off my ombre. So I applied the bead just where the purple blends out, and then I'm just sort of feathering it down to start to create my ombre. I don't want to cover the purple, I want the blush to fade out. If I feel I've gone down too far, I'll flip my brush and sort of feather blend the cover back. And then I'm going in with the second bead. This is at the cuticle, so I'm getting my brush right behind it, tucking it in, making sure I've got a nice neat cuticle line, and then I'm just bringing that product down. Now, as you can see, I had too much of the core on my bead, and I've come way too far down the nail. So here I've just flipped my brush and I'm bending, I am blending it back. Again, it doesn't matter if that blend is not absolutely perfect, because we are not going to see most of it. But as I said before, this is me. I like everything to be perfect, even if you don't see it, because I know it's there, but it's not perfect this time. I told myself, you're not going to see it, we're going to disguise it. And I'm doing the same on the ring finger. I actually started this bead at the cuticle, so I made sure my cuticle was nice and tight and tucked in and neat before just pulling that product and blending it down. We're not worrying about structure, apex or anything here. This is in the background because we're going to be applying more on top of it. Back to my pinky, and I'm using a crystal clear acrylic, and this is where I'm putting my apex in. This is so that I've got the structure. I'm also, if I need to, going to add a little bit more height to that smile line wall, or smile line acrylic wall, should we say. I was pretty happy with it, so I didn't need to add too much, but I'm also using the side of my brush to make sure that smile line is still nice and neat and kept its shape. Again, I am going to file it, so it doesn't matter if it's not spot on perfect, but I don't want to have to file too much. I just want to be able to crisp it up. Just added a little bit more because I felt the apex wasn't quite high enough, and then when I looked at it, my apex was far too high. But it's better to have too much product because you can file it down than to have not enough. On the index finger, I'm going to do a full nail of this beautiful Gale colour. So I've started off with a smaller bead so I can get a nice neat cuticle line, and then I'm just going to add another bead and I'm painting it on. I'm working wet. I'm not using this for structure, I'm using it for design, so nice and wet and painting it on. With these pigmented colours, sometimes they need a little bit of a shake, a little bit of a stir, and if when you put them on there's a little bit of separation between the pigment, just swirl the brush around like you're sort of swirling. Just swirl the brush around, and this will mix up the pigment. Make sure I've got full coverage from cuticle to tip, sidewall to sidewall, and then I'm just going to leave it. That nail is just going to be Gale for the time being. Now we're going to move on to some good stuff. We're going to move on to some glitter, and I'm just going to apply a little bit of this where I've used Gale on the pinky, the ring finger and the middle finger. Now this is going to completely cover my ombre blend, so it really didn't matter. I was originally going to do some glitter at the cuticle and sort of have it so it's poking out, but I decided not to do that, so I'm just popping it over top. Not worrying if you can see some of that colour behind. I want to see some of Gale, so I'm just patting a little bits on, and there you can see that messed up blend is completely hidden, so nothing to worry about. Exactly the same on this nail, the ring finger. Again, keeping it thin, working quite wet, because these are the nails I'm going to be applying the decals to, so I don't want to add too much thickness here because I've got to add the decals and I've got to encapsulate, and I don't want to file anything away. Now it's decal time, so a wash of clear acrylic, just a little bit. This is just going to act as like my adhesive, and then I'm going to let it start to go tacky. I find if it is too wet, there's that risk of the decal smushing. I've got my tweezers, I've lifted the decal off of the sponge. There shouldn't be any excess water, but if there is, I just sort of pat it on the back of my hand, slide off the backing, and then pop the decal where I want it, and then I'm lightly pressing it down. Just gentle taps, because even though the back isn't that wet, I don't want to smush or tear or anything with the decal. I then decided I didn't like how it was just that straight line where I'd put it in the middle of the nail, so I've gone back in with a little bit more of that glitter just to hide the bottom line and just make it look like he sort of tucked in behind the glitter. Exactly the same on the ring finger, that small wash of clear acrylic. Let it set ever so slightly. This is sped up so it doesn't look like, but I have left it for a minute, and then we're going to apply the Doggy right in the middle of the nail, so I'm hiding all of that blend, and also if it's right in the middle of the nail, you are definitely going to be encapsulating it and adding enough thickness that you don't file any of the design away. I did file a little bit of the side of Jack's head just because it was that curve where I needed to file down. So I don't like filing in these practice hands. I always worry about tearing, ripping, adding, you know, having an accident. So I always take the nails out to do the filing. So what I've done here is I've just pulled the nail out and I'm just filing that smile line. Normally I would sort of cut all of this out, but I haven't. So here you're just going to look at the design I have currently got. But I love how it's coming together already. I'm so sorry that I've not cut this bit out. But I can tell you about the chromes. I've not used them yet, but I will be. So every month here at the nail team, we have a product of the month. We do also have a glitter of the month, and they are reduced. It's always a really, really good price for the product of the month. This month we have featured the Nail Team chromes. There's a set of 13 chromes. They are normally £100 for the set, but this month they are just £40 for all 13. I mean, that is an absolute bargain. But they're only on offer until the end of October. So if you do want to invest in some good chromes, check out the ones we've got here at the Nail Team. There are images on my Instagram and my TikTok if you would like to have a closer look at them all. Filed my smile line. I've just cleaned it up with a wet brush, then wipe the brush off because I don't want to get any dust or anything, and then I'm going in with Gale right up in the cuticle, right up into the wings and that entire tip, keeping it thin, keeping it wet, painting it on because I'm going to pop a little bit of glitter on top. So I want to get right up in the wings, make sure it's nice and even. Now it wasn't even because when I filed it, it was a little bit wonky donkey, but actually I quite liked it. So, you know, sometimes these accidents happen for a reason. But here you can see I'm getting that product right up into the wings, right up side, not worrying if I get any product on that nail bed because that is complete, so I will just file anything away, but I do like to go in with a wet brush just to clean it up because I like to be clean and tidy when I'm working. Doesn't always work. And now I'm just going to pat in some of that glitter into the wet acrylic. It kind of makes it look a little bit speckled. I quite liked it, and I love the Wizard of Oz glitters. They are such a unique cut. They are so lovely to work with, and some beautiful colours. But here we have the acrylic design all done. So off camera I'm going to encapsulate in clear acrylic. I am going to file them and try to do a little bit of a fancy transition, but you know me, doesn't always go to plan. So this set is all filed, all starting to look lovely, so it is time to finish off the design. You can't really tell from this angle, that smile line, but believe me, it wasn't right. But I was always going to add some art, so I've given it a good wipe, get rid of any dust or fluff, and now I'm going in with the Eve Art Gel from Gems Nail Systems, and I'm using my Addison brush, and I'm going to be creating a little bit of a spider web. So actually my wonky smile line didn't matter too much because it kind of worked with the way the smile line was, and you know me, I like something to be a little bit of a jaunty angle, so you know, it all came out in the wash. So I'm just doing a few lines. You don't want them too close together, otherwise when you do these little curved lines in between, it's too small to fit it in. So I've just done 4 lines, and then I'm just adding my little curved in between webby bits. I don't know what you call them, but you know what I mean. I'm using the fabulous Addison brush. Did I say that? I think I did. This is the new and improved Addison brush. It's a super long, super thin liner, and it's brilliant if you're doing any line work. Sometimes I might go for a slightly smaller brush doing these in between liney bits, but for today I stuck with Addison and it really worked. Just tidying up where I got it on the skin, because now I'm going to pop in the lamp, and I'm actually just going to cure for 30 seconds. These are a 60-second cure, but I'm going to cure for 30 seconds, and this is where we're going to add the chrome. So this beautiful purple chrome, just tipped a little bit into the lid because I've got extra long nails at the moment. It's really hard to get your finger in when you've got nails, and I'm just going to rub that onto the chrome. Give it a good rub on, dust away the excess, and then I'm going to pop back in the lamp to cure for the further 30 seconds. Not going to worry about all that chrome on the nail around it, it'll come out in the wash. Dust away anymore, and now I'm going to go in with Martha Matte, because I'm going to be doing some extra chrome work on top, and the matte top coat the chrome won't stick to. Cured that for 60 seconds. Martha Matte is the absolute best matte top coat I have ever used, and here you can see I've cleaned it away and just wiped over. Now I'm going to create a jeweled spider. So I'm using my Eve Art gel, and I'm creating the shape of my spider body, and here I'm using the Crystal Nail Zero Short brush. It's a little bit smaller, thinner, so it's really good for small detail work. Gems does have a detailer brush too, but I wanted something a little bit smaller than what we've got, and I love my Crystal Nails brush. So I'm just creating that body shape, thinking about which way I want my spider to be, how big I want it to be. It's all in my head. So I'm just filling in, painting it. I want it to be quite flat, quite even, and then I'm gonna pop in the lamp to cure for 30 seconds because I'm going to apply the pigment on top, keeping all the colours the same. So that's come out of the lamp, bring back my pigment, and I'm just going to rub that in, and then I will cure for the other 30 seconds. I always think chromes, I keep calling it pigment but it's chrome, I always think they apply better when the nail is still warm. Now, to create my jeweled spider, I am going to use the Wizard of Oz Wizard Glitter, and I've also got one of the unicorn flakes from the nail team. And now I'm using Felicity Flex. This is a slightly thicker base coat. It's great for strength, but it's also great for glitter, and this is going to help me give it a slightly 3D effect. So I'm applying that just where the body is, and then I'm just packing in some of that glitter to start off with. We want to keep the shape, so I don't tend to go right to the edge of that body so that we don't lose the shape, and then I'm just going to pop some of that chrome, it's not chrome, some of those unicorn flakes on top. This is going to give it sort of some sparkly depth and dimension, and then we cure that layer. You can just flash cure, but we're going to cure that layer, and then we're going to go in with another bead of that Felicity Flex. We are starting to give it that 3D look, and then I'm going to add in a little bit more of those flakes and possibly a little bit more of the glitter, and then we cure that. I think I've just gone in with a little bit more, yeah, we're going in with the glitter. I went in with a touch more of the Felicity Flex just so that the glitter had something to sit in. And then when I'm happy with how that's looking, I sort of use the brush to shape it so it's that spider shape, and then we're going to go in with a slightly bigger bead of Felicity, and we're sort of going to encapsulate all of that glitter and the flakes, and we're going to give it that sort of really nice 3D rounded shape. And then I did just put a little dot where I want the head to be, and I've just applied a little crystal there, and then fully cure it. Now Felicity Flex is tacky, so I'm going to have to add Tina Top, but first of all I'm going to go back to my Eve art gel and I'm going to draw some spider's legs. So I just needed to flip the hand around to do the other spider legs on the other side, and don't forget you can do this with your client if you need to. You know, you can flip the hand so it's facing upright to paint on a different side or a slightly different angle. So giving it 4 legs on each side. I like to have the 2 back legs on each side facing backwards and the 2 front legs going forwards. Then we're just going to add a couple of little sort of pincers where the head is, and we'll pop in the lamp to cure for 60 seconds. There's those little pincers, make it look like a spider. I think before I did cure that, you could cure it if you're worried about smudging it, but beforehand I'm just going to apply a coat of Tina Top to this Gale nail because I'm going to apply a full chrome nail. Now when you're working with chrome on a full nail, you want to make sure that nail is as smooth as possible. No bits of bumps or fluff or anything, so you really want to buff that nail. I did a 30-second cure, and then I'm going to rub that chrome in, really buff it in. You don't want any sort of excess chrome laying on the nail when you come to top coat it. Brush away the excess, and I did the further 30-second cure, and then I've just dusted it again, but I'm just buffing away at the side walls because the top coat had sort of pulled a little bit, so it had lost its shape. And normally if I'm working on real hands, I would go in with a coat of Betty Base to really seal the chrome, and then I'd do a top coat. But for this design, I'm just going to do the 1 top coat, and I'm going to top coat all of the other nails at the same time. So I want to make sure I top coat all of my spider's body. You want to avoid top coating the crystal because it's going to lose its shine if you do that. So get right over that body, just make sure that's all top coated, make sure it's nice and even. I pulled the nail out, which was really annoying because I needed to wipe it and top coat it again. But I want to make sure it's nice and smooth, nice and even, but we've not had it pull at the tip. Then I always turn my hands upside down just to allow gravity to really even it out. And then back onto my chrome nail, I'm going to use my Eve art gel and my Addison brush again to create another half spider web. So again, I'm doing those 4 straight lines, I think it worked out as. You could do a full nail of a spider web, but I just like the sort of in the corners. And then we're going to come in. I like to do the little curved lines while those straight lines is wet because you can use some of that gel. But if you're worried about smudging or smushing it or anything, you could flash cure and then do these curved lines. But I just think it works so much better while it's still wet. And I have come in with my Zero Short brush here to do those little detailed lines. Yeah. We're just filling in those little curved lines, and then I will cure this for 60 seconds. And you could actually leave this as it is. The art gels are tack free, so you can apply them over top of top coat and not have to worry about any tackiness or anything. And that was my original plan. I was just going to leave it as it was, but I decided to bling it up slightly. So that's what I did. So that's cured, and now I'm going back in with another coat of Tina Top. So I did end up with 2 coats over top of that chrome, and I decided to add some of those crystals that I used for my spider head and just randomly put them on this nail in and around that spider web, so it kind of looks like tiny little, I don't know what it looked like. I'm not sure how I felt about this at the end. I maybe, if I was to do this design again, would miss out the crystals, but hey ho. I've just flash cured them in place before I move the hand into the lamp, just so that they didn't slide around. And then that is my Beetlejuice spider set done. I cleaned up right around the cuticles where I've applied the chrome, and they are all complete. I love the jeweled spiders, I really do. They are so fun to do and they look great. I actually did one in a TikTok live yesterday from when I'm filming or voicing over this, and I think it's something you could do with like baubles and so many other things. But I love how this set's turned out. I'm still on the fence about that index finger, but the others I absolutely love. But we have come to the end of this video and I do hope you have enjoyed it. As always, I will pop all of the product details in the description box. Don't forget, when you're shopping at Gems Nail Systems, you can use Helen 5 for 5% off all full price products. If you're liking the look of Gale or those chromes, you need to be quick to get them whilst they are on offer. But that is this video done. So if you have enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Do leave me any comments down below because I love to hear from my viewers and subscribers. And if you are new here, please click that subscribe button. I will definitely be back with more design videos very, very soon. But that is it from me today. So thank you so much for watching. I do have another Halloween set coming in a few days, so be sure to check back for that. Bye. Mwah.